Chair, it's important to know how we got here today. This relief topic is not, contrary to what a lot of people may think, and it may sound crazy what I'm about to say, but it's not because generators stopped working a couple years ago. It's not because of the power outages. This topic of relief has been a discussion and a debate for over a decade, right? And there have been various attempts and various things done in the past to bring relief to the people by the former government, but also way back over a decade ago by another minister who even brought up to 5 cents relief on the liter. And what was then seen as a valiant effort, because it was, turned out to be to bear a symbolic result. Because although it was 5 cents per liter on the liter, it didn't bring the type of relief to touch the bottom line of the consumers. Because a lot of people was waiting on it, and even after it was instated, a lot of people didn't even recognize or realize it was instated because it was pennies compared to what they were expecting. So my first question of the day, Madam Chair, through you, to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, what do you mean when you use the word relief? What is relief? What do we understand under the word of relief when the Prime Minister says he's going to bring relief to the people, or that this government is going to bring relief to the people? Because a lot of times when people listen and people think, hey, we're waiting on relief, we're waiting on relief, we're waiting on relief, there are symbolic relief gestures and there are relief gestures that will touch the bottom line of the people. So I would like the Prime Minister to explain what does he mean with relief. And which brings me to my following question. Did the Prime Minister, through you, Madam Chair, conduct any type of research before making this promise in 2023? All right, because last week, the first meeting when we started this meeting, the Prime Minister said the last time that the BTP report was the first of its kind. Well, the minister that instated this years back would be the first one to tell you. He also had a report telling him what the feasibilities were at the time. So what research did the Prime Minister do, or what data did the Prime Minister have prior to making this promise to the people? And I say all this to say the following, Madam Chair. Leading up and going through over the last couple of months and weeks, ever since the motion was passed in October, although not sitting next to the Prime Minister, I and a couple of other colleagues have been thinking along and making suggestions, whether they were appreciated or not, to the Prime Minister, and for him to see what is feasible from what is not. And then came the last meeting where the Prime Minister presented his presentation and gave his plan, or what he's shared, what he was looking into. And Madam Chair, I must say at that moment, I went from being optimistic to being skeptical, and I must say I was even borderline disappointed. Disappointed for various reasons, but also one of the reasons, Madam Chair, when I looked up and I saw how you were sitting listening to the Prime Minister, I must say, Madam Chair, I was disappointed in that reaction as well. Almost even more disappointed than your facial expression at the groundbreaking at the marketplace. And I'll explain why. Madam Chair, you've sat in the highest offices for decades. And I must say that when MP Lewis a while back stated that you signed his primary school diploma, I had nostalgia because you signed mine as well. I say all of that to say, you've seen, Madam Chair, Prime Ministers come and go. You've even been a Prime Minister yourself. You've seen finance ministers come and go. You've even been over a couple of them. You've even appointed a couple of them yourself, being now as well. And Madam Chair, when the Prime Minister gave his presentation, and he explained that he will be bringing or looking into a household subsidy for all, I was really surprised that I didn't see you flinch. Because, Madam Chair, any finance minister, and I have a former finance minister down next to me, if you were to bring the word subsidy to them, they would hold their chest. That's one word that all finance ministers are scared of, whether they have money or whether they don't have money, right? I say all of that to say, Madam Chair, that I'm sure that when the current...
Madam Chair, my first issue is the redaction. We, Parliament, represent the people of St. Martin. GB is a publicly owned company. It's not a privately owned company. And again, I have an issue. I can understand when you're saying SOL's information, but you not only are a publicly owned company, a company owned by the people, you have a monopoly. So who's going to come in and say, oh, based on your numbers, I'm going to offer electricity cheaper? Madam Chair, there's a part in the report that says, based on information received in from 2022 to 2024, St. Martin has paid an excess of redacted blank amount. The most important part. Also in the report, it shows that in that time frame, St. Martin has paid an excess of 12.6 million guilders more than it's supposed to pay. Madam Chair, I have a barrage of notes, but I've studied this in and out. I can basically just go through and give my entire 20-minute speech based on the studies. We have fuel clause, Madam Chair, that is calculated by the total cost of the fuel plus the lubricants divided by the total net sales minus 7Cs and minus their own consumptions. Now, Madam Chair, this goes against the 2011 recommendations whereby when this was introduced, it was supposed to be fuel alone. So my question to the Honorable Prime Minister, through you, Madam Chair, is when did lubricants become a part of the fuel clause? I also refer you to the Kimber report of 2011 where recommendations were made, Honorable Prime Minister, through you, Madam Chair, on how to install or instate this fuel clause. So I ask, can a copy of the Kimber 2011 report be provided to Parliament? Because to know where you're going, you have to know where you started. Madam Chair, when I did the interruption and I said, stop lying to the people, my colleagues jumped up and said, you say he's a liar. Well, I say stop lying to the people. If the cap fits, then wear it. But I never said the Prime Minister is a liar. Because, Madam Chair, we hear one lie where it states that this government is the only government that requested such report. And here we go. 2 reports was read. Madam Chair, I ask to the Honorable Prime Minister, I'll take a trip down memory lane real quick. We have here an article, March 18th, 2025. March 18th, 2025. Government looking into turnover tax exemptions on fuel purchase and renegotiating 7C's contract. This is in March. My motion was in June. I was just going off of the basis and the premise in the same direction that the government wanted to go. Now, my question would be to the Honorable Prime Minister, can you provide me the document where SOL requested a TOT exemption and SOL was granted this TOT exemption? You see, because the article that the Honorable Prime Minister read, I have read this article in, out, over, under to the Honorable Minister of Finance. And while the article says that you are qualified for it, you are not automatically granted such. Because you know who else is in those articles? Casinos. You know who else is in those articles? Large construction projects and various businesses are in those articles that qualify for turnover tax exemptions. But every construction person has to request such. So my thing is, I would like to see that, where they were granted the TOT exemption. Madam Chair, I refer you to a story, and this reminds me of it so much. there was these sheeps, and the dogs had to protect the sheeps. And the wolves started to tell the sheeps, but the dogs are stifling you. Sheep, thank you for the correction. And the dogs are stifling you. And the dogs won't let you roam. And the sheep then turned against the dogs, telling them, you are stifling us. We don't need you. And chased the dogs away. And on that night, the wolves had the biggest feast of their life. Right now, the wolves are feasting, Madam Chair. You came to the people of St. Martin, said you had all the answers. The previous government is this, the previous government is that. And anytime there's a situation, the previous government comes up. So much so that the article after the Prime Minister was here, Madam Chair, read, Prime Minister blames previous government. But zero solutions. Zero. February 2019, Gibby loses $3.5 million in 2018. March 27, 2018, Gibby facing financial challenges, employees facing cuts of benefits. Matter of fact, my good colleague next to me, MP Jansen, is in this picture. November 12, 2018, CFT, Gibby Harbor Airport financial risk. 2019, August 25th, NRPB and Gibby starts water and electricity resilience program. This looks familiar. This looks familiar. So what was this signing through you, Madam Chair, with NRPB for electricity resilience? Is it a signature signing or a decorative signing because we know a meeting was today? Because when I read this same article that came out yesterday, the day before the GB meeting, it states that work commenced May 2025. May 2025 in the same article I was out yesterday. Again, emotions.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social health insurances.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com, SXM Daily News, PBS NewsHour, Now You Know, comm programs, documentary, entertainment, sports events, Saturday children's hours, religion programs, and movies. Click on SXM TV broadcast to see your favorite programs.
On the screen of no TOT being transferred, okay, let's not be blinded. There's a second part in here that says to request the Minister of TEA to evaluate the legal basis and possibility of removing TOT from the government's build-up. The motion didn't have one part, had another part. And I stand here with this document again for the 13th time that shows the government instating TOT to both the wholesaler and the consumer. So tell the people of St. Martin why we're not tackling this through you, Madam Chair. So I said to the Honorable Prime Minister, when are you going to address this part of the motion? Are you going to address this part of the motion? Because this here will bring an immediate relief to the people. Again, I don't want to hear what can't be done. Because in 2022, this minister, as acting Minister of TEAT, that gentleman right here in front of me as Minister of Finance, and the former Minister of Justice presented, and along with a capable Chief of Staff, presented a fuel relief to the people of St. Martin for a period of 6 months. 2022. What are you do? What are you do? And that's why I'm confident to speak, because I know what the majority is going to say. What are you do? What are you do? That's the same record that goes over and over. September 2023, NVG, EBE, and Minister Attlee discussed reduction for payment on utility plans. 2022, Minister Attlee signs MOU water contract with the French side destined to bring millions, December 2023, whereby relief would be given to the people, help, stability for GEBE that I have read from 2018 that has been failing. July 2023, MP Attlee signs MP Attlee signs water agreement with 7 Seas, saving GEBE $400,000 annually. Also in 2023, MP Attlee first minister to sign DDRP scholarships whereby GEBE can have someone to study water production to take over 7 Seas. And all of this is the findings and monies will go back to the people of St. Martin. Madam Chair, since we're in the illustrative mood, I illustrate here an invoice from SOL to GEBE, signed by the plant manager. And it says, simple invoice for the people of St. Martin. It says, fuel and a unit price, 0.63 US dollars, 63 cents. And it says that for this month, GEBE ordered 92,199 liters. And all it does is it has the amount, the unit price, and times it. That's it. It has here for diesel, and it has here for lubricants.
MP Attlee, with your indulgence, I will allow MP Roseburg to take the floor for an interruption.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Seeing that their MP is providing information and it's not really visible, will it be possible for it to be shared on the screen so that we all can read what is being said, seeing how the Prime Minister did himself? Or can we get that document in confidential manner? Because I'm really curious what's being said and what we can read on the screen as well, because it's not clear to me. Thank you, Madam Chair. If their MP is willing to share it with all the members of Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you, MP Roseburg. MP Attlee, would you make that document available to Parliament so that it can be shared with the members?
Honorable Madam Chair, if it can be shown on the screen, no problem. I'm not giving or sharing it to Parliament physically. I have no problem. I see that the Honorable Prime Minister had a problem showing his on the screen, but I have no problem with it, but I would like to continue, and then I can gladly share.
You may continue, and then the document will be shared, MP Roseburg, in response to your question. MP Attlee, you may continue.
Madam Chair, so again, all it has is a unit price per liter, 0.63 cents, 0.6266, and 0.82. That's all it has is a unit price per liter and the amount that GEBE ordered. And underneath it says subtotal, which adds up, and on the invoice, correctly, in case they're getting frightened, correctly, it says taxes, 0, miscellaneous, 0, and freight, 0. That is what this says. This is an invoice from SOL to GEBE. What is interesting, Madam Chair, and yes, this can go on the screen, I have here a confidential letter, subjected, fuel on board, change of gas oil. And it says MCP, freight in and out, throughput fee, remittance tax, ocean loss, miscellaneous, service TOT, and net prices. Confidential letter. Madam Chair, I refer to my statement. I always say if you want to beat a dog, you're going to find a stick. And instead of focusing on what I really say, I told the Prime Minister, while you are reading what is not supposed to happen, leave that office and ensure that it is not happening. Because, Madam Chair, right here, at the end, I have a unit price of 0.87. A unit price. And I read here, that's how these bills are sent. And that's what BTP is saying, no transparency. In order to get these unit price, you had to get it from somewhere, Madam Chair. Somewhere, and a matter of fact, I think the BTP report was based on, what, 1 month from each of the years? And then if you want to say, okay, this confidential letter to the institution, this is a confidential letter. And then now you're saying in the BTP report, first of all, there's something blacked out. Then we have something called premium charges. Madam Chair, I did business over the weekend and somebody had sales tax. I said, what's this sales tax? Oh, it's TOT, but we can't put the TOT on it, but it's 5%. Premium charges, and then in the report it has freight. So if you want to say I line, it has freight in this report, Madam Chair, but on a bill to GEBE, it says 0 for freight. Somebody lying somewhere. Somebody then. Since nobody wants to be called a liar, somebody's lying. The report says freight. The invoice says 0 for freight, 0 for tax. The report says remittance tax. Somebody lying somewhere. And of course, this is going to say 0 because in here, everything is instituted. That's why I keep saying, Honorable Prime Minister, you counted when I was talking to me, or we had stopped the clock. Honorable Prime Minister, this is bigger than you and I. It's not about you and I. This is about the people. And I am upset because, again, it took us 11 months. We are here with some of the same recommendations. We spoke about the concession fee. And I have 1 minute, so I have to touch this point. I have here a beautiful picture. Maybe I could get another minute of the Honorable Chair Lady. Beautiful picture. Your picture is beautiful too. Recommendations. Establish an independent regulatory oversee for GEBE. Enforce immediate tariff relief in line with the powers invested. And then the last part, I'm going to end right here. This is not an Omar situation. This is a public of St. Martin situation. So when the Honorable Prime Minister jumps up and say, these MPs talking about concession and he should know better. The last point. While I do not believe that concession fees should be relinquished, the government can consider holding off on collection or setting concession fees to allow immediate relief, only until we regain a better understanding of GB Financial. That wasn't me, from the Honorable Chair Lady of Parliament, your coalition member. Do not focus on Omar E.C. Otley. This problem affects all of us. Thank you, Madam Chair.
SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah, your social health insurances.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com, SXM Daily News, PBS NewsHour, Now You Know, com programs, documentary, entertainment, sports events, Saturday children's hours, religion programs, and movies. Click on SXM TV broadcast to see your favorite programs.
Madam Chair, as I stand here this afternoon before you and the people of this country, I've listened to my two colleagues before me. I am not here to debate with the Prime Minister, Madam Chair, or our government-owned company, the company that belongs to the people, though having my questions formulated and prepared to ask the Minister questions, our first colleague spoke and he asked, I think, about 41 questions. Or 43 questions, rather. The people of this country, though we debate, though we ask questions to the Honorable Prime Minister, the people of this country comes first, and the only one question I will ask in this round is when the people of this country will be respected and given the relief that they so deserve. Thank you, Madam Chair.
GB relief and governance. I think that this subject matter has been widely discussed, not now, but for a very, very long time. And I really, really hope that coming out of this meeting, we could get some solutions. With that being said, I have the following statements and questions. Through you, Madam Chair. Prime Minister, you publicly promised the people relief by June or July of this year. That relief never came. This wasn't a rumor, this wasn't an assumption, this wasn't a matter of interpretation, Madam Chair. I sat right here, I was in this room, I wasn't outside, I wasn't in the restroom when I heard it. I saw and I heard what the Prime Minister said. It was even published in all the media houses. I would like to know through you, Madam Chair, can you outline for this Parliament, by extension the people of St. Martin, step for step, what is your plan of relief and what is it supposed to look like? How much would each household have received? What is the total cost for GEB? How would the government support this manner financially? Madam Chair, through you, I would like to know what is the next steps now in terms of actual relief? Can you give the people a clear timeline when something concrete will appear on their bills? When will they feel it? When will they receive it? I know a couple months ago you mentioned July. July gone. And right before the deadline, a whole public debate, a whole public attack started from the government's end to the Supervisory Board of Directors. I think it's an art of this government to deflect when other matters are taking place. They find a nice little way to distract the population. Fact is, on July 31st, a whole thing come out, the board have to go. But this is the same board that brought the generators. This is the same board that brought the 75.6 million. All of a sudden, the board is no good. I move on, Madam Chair. Through you, you requested that the Supervisory Board step down. Where are we with that process right now? What have been the next steps since your request? If the entire board is sent home, what will the reporting structure look like in the meantime? What is your plan? What is the government plan when they execute this proposal or request that they want to get executed? Madam Chair, reality is, for a year and a half, almost, during the term of the Prime Minister, 3 seats on the board remain vacant. If relief and governance are so urgent, why aren't these positions filled? Why weren't they filled to strengthen the board's capacity? Why was this not done? So, Madam Chair, when people want to point fingers, I think we have to take a hard look in the mirror as individuals sometimes before we make these type of statements. Because, Madam Chair, I am not here as a defender of the board, but I am a defender of the people of St. Martin. And when you have professionals, whether young, seasoned, old, middle, whatever, being chastised by a government because they know that the board are limited in terms of what they can and cannot say, I find that quite unfortunate. And I could see a bully when I could recognize a bully when I see one. And I think that the government is bullying